Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some of the miracle stories that are happening right here in our own city, in our own state, every day. My name is Tony Kausha, and the title of our show is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. Please note, this show is not about religion, and we're not trying to change anyone's religion, and we're not trying to get you to join any religion. It's just about miracle stories. I don't know of any religion on the planet that doesn't talk about miracles. That's why religions begin, because they have something that's telling them there's really a God. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to just talk about miracles and leave the decisions about all that up to you. So we don't care what religion you are. We just want to talk about miracles. If you are an atheist, I think you'll enjoy the program as well, although I can't guarantee you'll remain an atheist very long after you hear many convincing stories, coincidence kinds of stories about miracles. You can email me your own stories if you wish. We'll try to use all we can on the show. I can't guarantee we will, depending on volume and time, but you're welcome to send your stories on to us, and we will mention them when we can. You can send them to the following email address. But please notice that if we do use your story, we won't mention your name. We'll keep you anonymous. And we suggest that in your story, when you send it to us, don't use your correct name. That way anyone listening will not be able to figure out that it was you that sent the story in. The email address you can send your stories to is very easy to remember. It consists of 2 words and 3 numbers. The first word is Tony, spelled Tony, and the second word is and, spelled A-N-D, and the numbers are 777. So once again, the name is Tony and 777 at AOL.com. Well, let us begin. Today we are recording week number 20. I never really know when these are going to be broadcast perfectly by day, but as I prepared this, I realized I was preparing this to be run on July 12th, the 12th of July in the year 2020. And I just realized that that actually is such an amazing date, which makes this to be a coincidence supporting the fact that I'm telling you today about a 6-step miracle. There's 6 coincidences involved in this miracle, and I hope you enjoy it, because when I was all done, number 6 just occurred to me that I was recording this for July 12th, and you'll see why number 6 becomes an amazing confirmation that I'm preparing this for July 12th, and I didn't realize that until I was completed and it was ready for scheduling. So let me begin. The first step in this 6-part miracle is that I was awakened one morning at 4:44 in the morning, and it was 1 year after my wife had passed away. So on the anniversary of her passing away and entering into heaven, and you can read about this in my first book about her passing on page 125, which convinces people she did pass away at 4:44 in the morning, and she did arrive in heaven as a result by the miracles we saw surrounding her passing. So the first step in this is that I was awakened at 4:44 in the morning, and she had passed away at 4:44 in the morning a year earlier. The second step in coincidence in this 6-point miracle story is I had already arranged for a mass to be said for my wife's intentions and her desires. I had arranged for this 5 months before today. So 5 months earlier, I asked my church to please say a mass on this morning, this day, to commemorate my wife's passing. She had passed away in August, and we were now in August, and I wanted it to be the annual anniversary of her passing, to offer a mass. And I don't know what religion you are, and if you are every religion. I don't preach religions, but in my particular religion, it's something we believe in and something we do. So I had arranged for this already, that a mass would be said, and I just was awakened in the first step The second step was that he already arranged for this particular day to have the Mass being said. So far I have two coincidences about what's going on this day so far. The third step is that I actually attended the Mass, which is something we should try to do if we schedule a Mass. I attended the Mass, and after the Mass was over and I was driving away, a car passed me on the highway, and the license plate on the car that passed me was number 444. Now that's pretty amazing, I think. My wife passed away at 4:44 in the morning, and here after the Mass was said for her passing, and the Mass was said to ask that God would grant her intentions or her desires in heaven by virtue of the Mass. It's something traditionally that we do. I'm driving away, and a car passes me with the license plate number 444. Now, that is significant enough, I think, but I'll just add a P.S. I noticed that the car passed me while we were driving by a mailbox number 444. I notice it's a bit heavy and dense if you don't believe in numbers showing up and numbers speaking to you, but you have to admit there's a tremendous coincidence that I was being passed by a car that had a plate number 444, and it was passing me as we were both driving by a mailbox number 444, and my wife had passed away at 4:44 in the morning. So that's a pretty stunning coincidence if you believe in coincidence miracles. The fourth step in this story is that later that night when I was home, I turned the television on at random. I just turned it on, and there was a priest already there speaking, and the priest was talking about the value and the importance of offering up masses, offering up a mass to be said for someone who passes away, asking God to grant them special graces, special favors in heaven. It's something we can do. We can ask God, please grant my loved one in heaven, someone I love and care about who's gone to heaven. Please grant them some special favor today, God. And I'm saying this Mass, please, as a prayer for that in this regard. So the priest was explaining how this is a wonderful tradition and a wonderful thing to do, and we can ask God for anything we want, and certainly we can ask God to give our loved ones who are in heaven some special thing. We don't know. We know they're getting special things already by being in heaven. In fact, just being in heaven is the greatest special thing you can imagine. But we also know we can ask God to grant them some special favor. Maybe it's wild and beyond our greatest imagination. I don't know what God does for souls in heaven. I mean, maybe he gives somebody an entire planet or an entire galaxy as a gift on their birthday. Who knows what God does? There's a lot of space out there where he can give planets and constellations of stars and all kinds of things he can give people on their birthday if he wants to. There's a lot of space. There's infinite space, so he never runs out of space if he wants to give gifts to loved ones. Now, because my wife had passed away, we were celebrating this one-year anniversary, and I certainly missed her very much. And I had been thinking about my wife all day, about all her attributes, all of her special qualities. I was thinking about that all day, as I'm sure you would do if this was something happening between you and someone you loved. And I had looked at some photographs and pictures about her. I checked some things we had written to each other. And I was being reminded of many wonderful moments in our life, many happy moments. But I was thinking a lot about her personality, her qualities. I really have not met another person like her. Her personality was brilliant and very special. When we had family gatherings, she would welcome everyone who came, and she always made everybody feel so very special. She had that very special quality, very welcoming, and everybody commented about it. They always felt loved, and whenever they came into her presence. And she did this for many, many years. We were married for 53 years, so I hold her memory and her personalities very special. But the priest was explaining how male and females are not really the same. We keep saying people are the same, male and female, but the priest was explaining, in fact, we're 100% most spectacular. That we're not just equal. That's not enough. We're not just equal, but we're also very special and different. We have differences that make us extremely special. Men are special. Special differences, and women have special differences as well. And he went on to explain how if he was comparing this and using trees, trees in the forest to define males and females, he would say that men are like fir trees or maybe like maple trees. That's what men are if you're describing them in terms of trees. But women, if you think about it, women are like a peach tree or a pear tree or an apple tree, or a cherry tree. And these are distinctions between different kinds of trees. Fir trees, maple trees for men, and then these fruit trees, peaches and pears and apples and cherry trees, as describing women. So I was very touched by that, and he was explaining the meaningfulness of women and many great attributes of women, generally very peaceful, welcoming, warm, kind, sweet. Even the sound of their voices, etc., are different than men. So that was a very wonderful gift for me to just turn the TV on at random and hear that message, which I thought I'd share with you today. And then the sixth thing that happened, the sixth step is I prepared this talk and planned for it to be aired on the radio and put into our blog. And it was going to be aired on July 12th in the year 2020. And I didn't realize that when I was putting it all together, that's the slot that would be available. It turns out the slot available, July 12th, is actually the actual birthday, not the death day, but the birthday of my wife, Julie. And so that is a remarkable coincidence. By the way, you can hear all of our past stories, all of our past recordings, and you can get a free copy of our first book. If you just Google a simple address, I've told you in the past, but those of you who are new to our shows maybe don't know this. So please know that if you Google the following address, you can hear our past stories, and you'll also get a free copy of our book if you wish. And you Google the following address. It's capital W for worldwide, so it's capital W, then CAT for cat. So far it's WCAT, then radio.com/miracles/ and one more time it's WCATradio.com/miracles/. As most of you know by now, the whole purpose of these broadcasts of our blog, of the 2 books I wrote, which you can find in that address at WCAT Radio, the whole purpose is to help people realize they can talk to God all day long, ask God questions about anything at all, and get responses. It's possible to have conversations with God anytime you want, and you don't even have to talk to Him. You can just talk to Him in your own mind, and He inspires you with answers. So that's the whole purpose. I'd like to mention a quick coincidence miracle to you. One day I had a tooth that was aggravating me and frustrating me, and I was driving by my dentist. I asked God what to do about this aggravating tooth. He said, stop in and ask your dentist if he can take the rough edges off now. And I stopped in, and lo and behold, he had an opening right on the spot. I got the tooth fixed without an appointment. And so I share that with you as another thing. Ask God about everything that's bothering you and do what He tells you, and you'll have miracles all day long, every day, sometimes 10 miracles a day. God bless you all. I'll talk to you next week.